in this video, we're going to be going over all things automation inside Zoho Books and Inventory. So I'm going to be showing a lot of these from the perspective of Zoho Books, but just keep in mind that these two applications kind of are two sides of a coin, especially once you have them both and integrate them. So really, everything I'm going to show here is going to apply to both sides of the aisle. So before I jump in, I do want to ask, if you find this video useful, please be sure to like and subscribe down below. Leave us any comments with any feedback, and head on over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting if you'd like to chat about how we can help with your Zoho installation. So without any further ado, let's jump right on into the walkthrough. So here I am inside of Zoho Books, and I'm going to show two of the main ways that we're going to go about automation inside of this app. So if we jump into settings, the first one I'm going to show are workflow rules. Now, workflow rules, these are like your, workhorse, pun intended, of automation, really, in most Zoho applications. These are essentially structured as like an if-then statement, and I'll show you exactly what that means. One important thing to know is that there's kind of two types of workflows. There is a rule, which would be based on an update to a field, a date on a record, right, whatever it may be, but it runs on one record based on a certain trigger criteria. The other kind is a schedule. So a schedule would be like, hey, every day at 9 a.m., run this script. Now, the one thing that is important to know with schedules is that they are only usable with custom functions. So we're not going to go too far down the rabbit hole here today, but a schedule could be used for something like once a day at 2 a.m., run a script that reaches into our ERP and pulls out any price changes that have occurred since yesterday, right? So kind of those regular updates of data. Now, in our case, we're going to spend a little more time here on the workflow rules side, which are, again, those kind of trigger-based automations. So if we think about how we might want to use a workflow, let's think about a really common scenario here within Zoho Books. So inside of Zoho Books, I may have a quote, and I've got this example quote here set up. And maybe I want to send this quote out and make sure that I have certain follow-up activities that are happening as this quote is pending approval. So if I have this quote here and I were to mark it as sent, we can take a quick look at some of the data about this quote and think about how we might go about structuring a workflow. So if we open up a particular quote, we can see we've got this date. This is like the date that it's been created and sent. And then we know that there's a status associated, right? Where this quote is currently in that sent status rather than the accepted status. So if we wanted to set up a custom follow-up sequence, what we can do is head on over to our workflow rules, click on Create New. We'll give this a name, so we'll call it our quote follow-up process. We'll choose a module, so this is like where we want to trigger this automation. So in our case, that's going to be the quote. Now there's two types of triggers. There's an event-based trigger and a date trigger. So we're going to use a date trigger, a bit of a spoiler, but I want to show you what these event ones do. So an event-based is basically saying when a record is created, edited, either created or edited, or is deleted, I want to trigger something to happen. A really common one is looking at like an edit to particular fields. So saying like, hey, if the date is edited, I want to notify someone that we've backdated. If the salesperson is to change, I want to notify the manager, right? Things like that. I'll give you a little pro tip here as well. If you are doing a create or edit, the one thing you won't see here is the status field. So what I'll normally do is I'll come in and let's say I wanted to run an automation when the quote gets accepted. I'll basically save this as workflow on create or edit, executed when any field is updated, and then I'll set my criteria as when that status is a certain value. And so I could say, hey, when the status is approved, I want to send an email, post a webhook, do an in-app notifications. Maybe I want a little pop-up on the screen of the salesperson. Maybe I want to update a field, right? And like hard code a certain value to another. All of those are going to be doable here just within these various actions. We can also have time-based actions, which are basically things that would happen after some kind of delay. So maybe after 3 days, 3 days after the quote date is accepted, we want to do a certain thing. This rule trigger date is an important one to know. This basically just means when did this hit, right? So if you're doing an update where you're using this create or edit and it's on like a status being approved, you're normally going to do this trigger date. So maybe here we want to say, hey, 3 days after, let's send an email to somebody and just make sure that we're moving forward on whatever we need to do to actually fulfill this quote. Now, in our case, I'm going to go back to our trigger-based criteria up here, and I'm going to move this over to date-based because this is a really common thing that we'll set up. So here, maybe I want to say 3 days after the quote date, we'll say at 9 a.m. And maybe I want to run this once, weekly, monthly, or yearly. I'm going to run it once, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. So we're going to update that. Now, our status here, if you imagine if we're doing like a follow-up on a quote, right, I would actually want the inverse of this status, and I would say quote status is not approved. You might also say, and quote status is not like declined, right? Because if they said no, we don't need to follow up on this. Important thing here is if you have many different criteria, just make sure to set your ands and ors and your criteria pattern accordingly. In my case, a simple and is going to work just fine. So basically we're saying, hey, quote can't be approved or declined. Otherwise, I want to follow up on it. Now, here I can do an immediate action, which I want to do. So we're saying, hey, 3 days after the quote date, I'm going to send a follow-up email using an email alert. Now, you'll see one little thing here is while you may have templates in your system, you need to associate those templates with actions or alerts. So here I'm going to add a new email alert. We're going to call this the quote follow-up. We're going to say it's from the created by user to be like our salesperson. Here I have an email template inside of my estimates. We've got other videos on creating templates inside of books that I highly recommend checking out. I'll leave a link to those down below. But so we'll grab our template. If you want to attach that quote as a PDF, great idea. You probably do. You can check that box. And then we can set this to go out to the appropriate person. So if we look at the email associated to the entity, we want to send this to that contact email address. So this is basically like the person who I had originally sent it to. Now, if I click save, that's actually done. I can just associate it and we are good to go. Now, you might want to set up more than one follow-up. So here I'm looking at a time-based action. And I'm going to say, hey, maybe another 3 days later. Actually, we'll do 6 days. You got to be really intentional with these. So inside of books, we're basically saying that 3 days after this trigger date, we're going to send. So if we wanted it to be 6 days after the quote date, we would do 3 days here because we have 3 plus 3, and then we'll get into our action. And now here, because I've already now just set up that email alert, I can reuse it. So I can just drop that in. I don't need to make a new one. I already have it. I actually recommend you don't make new actions for each of these. Use the same one unless you want to send a different email. And again, I can keep going with these. So maybe I want to send, day 3, day 6, and now maybe day 10. So I could add a 7-day delay after our trigger date. Let's send it again, right? And then maybe at the end, we want to come in and say, hey, we've now followed up on this for 10 days. Maybe on day 12 or 13, so my mental math is easier. Maybe now it's time to set up some type of notification. So maybe I want to do an in-app notification. And we'll do this to the salesperson. And it'll say, hey, this quote has not been accepted. And this will do just like a little pop-up notification for them so that they don't have to get emails about this type of stuff if they're going to be in here anyways. And now with that, I can go ahead and click save. And just like that, I've set up a quick and easy automated follow-up sequence for my quotes that are going out. Now, I will highlight there are some pre-baked reminder rules inside of Zoho Books. They don't apply for estimates, unfortunately. So they're going to go out for like your invoices and your bills. On the invoicing side, you might just be able to turn these on and not have to do a custom follow-up sequence. The difference is that I like to weave together emails that are going out with internal notifications of the team to maybe place a phone call a lot of the times on things like this. And their pre-baked reminder tool, while it's useful, it's only going to send emails. So sometimes I end up wanting to use a combination of both, or just moving everything into workflow rules so that I only have one place that I need to manage any of these automated actions related to a quote. Now, I'm going to give you one little bonus tip here outside of our workflows. So while the workflow is going to handle like the vast majority of your automation needs inside of Zoho Books, There is one other little feature in here that is really, really useful. So if we're to jump over to our data set here, and let's look at a sales order that's been like fully processed, right? So the process here, of course, is I send a quote gets accepted, I convert it to a sales order, and then from there, I can invoice it to get paid, and I can package and ship it to actually fulfill the product to the client. Now, the invoicing and packaging piece by default are going to be done manually, but a lot of businesses have some type of workflow rule where we can likely automate those steps. And so, option one might be, hey, when I get an accepted quote, I'm immediately ready to invoice. So I want to convert to a sales order and I want to create and send an invoice. Other customers, it might look like maybe you're working on payment terms. And so you actually want to create a package, right? Let's get this thing out the door as quickly as we can, because once it's delivered, I start my 30-day countdown till I can bill them for it, right? If you're on like a net 30 type of situation. So a lot of the times we find these opportunities to automate the creation of these invoices and packages. And so one of the things that Zoho added over the last year is the ability to do that without having to write any code. The old way to do it was I would come into the automation, I'd set up a workflow rule, just like I showed you there with like quote status is accepted, and then I would run it through a function, right? A little deluge function where I'm going to grab all the items on the estimate, convert them, yada, 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 take care of all those steps automatically. Problem is that requires deluge and not everybody knows that. So in here, we can actually set up what they call a sales order cycle automation. And we can do these in two different ways. We can do them for manually created sales orders where like I've created an estimate, I've sent it out, and then it gets accepted. And then you can also have a separate set of rules that run via connected sales channels. So like a really common one, right, is like when something is ordered on Shopify and it's written into Zoho inventory or books as a sales order, it's paid, right? So why not just automatically create the invoice and mark it paid as part of that process? So let's go ahead and jump in and actually see what we can do after a sales order is created and confirmed. So we can either create an invoice, a package, or one or the other, or both. If we want to mark that invoice as sent, we can do that. We can also record a payment against it. So again, if you're doing this manually, then you're almost never going to mark the invoice as paid. This would more be if you had like an e-commerce setup that was connected in. So like this top part here, I would very likely do under my sales channel integrations. But maybe I do want to go ahead and create an invoice and I want to create a package just immediately upon the sales order being created and confirmed. So here, and now that I've created this, if I go back to my quote, so I have my example quote here that's been sent. Let's say that this is accepted and I'm ready to convert it into a sales order. I can do that here. Oh, you know what? I have the signature turned on, so I'm going to mark this as accepted. Now I can convert it to a sales order. So as I'm doing the conversion, of course, it gives me this opportunity to make any adjustments, do whatever I need to do. In my case, I'm all good. So I'm going to save and confirm this. And just like that, we can see because I've set up this sales order cycle, it's going to give me that opportunity to say, hey, do you want to execute this? Do you want to override it? Or do you want to skip it? So in my case, I've gone ahead and executed it, which has now put me in the situation where if I give this a quick little refresh, here we can see now my invoice has been created in that draft status. And I have my package, which of course has not yet been shipped, but it's ready for processing by the warehouse team. Again, you might want to have little workflows here where like, hey, when this invoice is created, automatically send it. Just because again, in this case, I don't think if you were just to check mark as sent, I don't know that that's actually going to send it to the client. So be a little careful with that. You might want to actually bolt on a workflow to like tie into this. So again, you're going to be using a lot of different functionality as you automate within Zoho Books. But the big thing here is that this has saved you multiple clicks without having to write code. So even if it had to be part of your process where this all occurs, and then I come in here and click send, right before I'm done with this, you're still not forcing the user to click create invoice, go through, scroll down, click save, then click send. So you're able to just streamline some of these process steps and make sure that you're minimizing any manual entry and work that needs to be done as a part of your transactional processes. With that, I think we've covered kind of those main areas that we're going to do automation within Zoho Books and Inventory. Again, just as a recap, your workflow rules are kind of your one size fits all. Basically, anything that you want to do in here, you can get done with a workflow rule. Again, to sidestep some of the coding requirements of converting records through your processes, you may consider jumping in and using the sales order cycle, just again to shortcut some of the technical needs as you're configuring these tools. I really do hope that this video was useful for you. If it was, be sure to like and subscribe down below, as that really does help us out. If it sparks any questions, feedback, or additional video requests, make sure to leave those in the comment section down below that like button, as we try to read through and respond to as many of those as we can every single week. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.